Quiet! Quiet! I now declare the quick draw competition open.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is, man, I thought last deck was my favorite, but this deck might be my favorite. I'm definitely still tinkering with it, and I'm super excited about it. This one is called the Quick and the Dead, and the idea is it's sort of a prison lockdown deck utilizing High Noon with some ridiculous combo potential using some cards that we can just get way more value out of than we should be able to get out of just one spell, since we're limited to playing just one spell with High Noon. But I'm going to break down the deck and let you know exactly what we're doing, because some of the synergies and combos are just out of this world, and I am absolutely in love with this deck. You have to see it, and the games are pretty nutty too. So before we dive in, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. It's because of you guys that have been liking the videos all along. This channel's growing so quickly. We just passed 7,000 subscribers, guys, in like record time. I feel like it's just yesterday we hit 6. We're already at 7. We are just screaming towards 10K, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you so much. If you're new, make sure you subscribe so you can get in on everything. We'd love to have you be a part of the community. I have deck techs coming up constantly with the new set, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and we've got tons of spoiler content coming as well. So make sure you don't miss any of that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And a shout out to my patrons over at patreon.com/quarantinecapricorn. That's Yuck Foozy, Hector, and Kaylin at the Brew Crew Elite tier. And of course our forever CPU savior, 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ. You guys are awesome. Without your support, I don't know where I would be, honestly. Especially you, Terrence. Thank you so much. We are moving full steam ahead, guys. I'm so excited. Catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. It's time to break down the deck. This one's a doozy. Alright, so this deck has to be the craziest, most fun deck I've built yet. And it's just absurd when it gets going. So the idea here is we're playing High Noon, right? 2 mana for an enchantment. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. And then you can sack High Noon for 1 red and 4 to deal 5 damage to any target. Now, that second ability is just extra. Sometimes it is going to come up, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But for the most part, we're just running this for that first ability there. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. And there's a couple different ways we can take advantage of that. First of all, most of this deck is being played at instant speed. A lot of the things in the deck have flash. That way we're able to play something on our turn and on our opponent's turn. And we're usually able to, on average, play more things per turn cycle than our opponent can, because they might have some instant speed removal and stuff like that they can play on our turn. But they're not going to have as much versatility, as many things that they can play on our turn as we're going to have that we can play on their turn. So if each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn, over time we're going to be able to outvalue our opponent and grow a bigger board state than our opponent, because we can play something on their turn, play something on our turn, and just steamroll the value. But we can actually turn this up to 11 and take ridiculous advantage of this with a couple of key cards. First of all, we're running Aven Interrupter, which is another new card from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. 3 mana for a 2/2 flying flash creature, so we can play it on their turn. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you exile any spell, and that spell becomes plotted. Then spells your opponents cast from graveyards or from exile cost 2 more to cast. So first of all, regardless of whatever spell you exile with this when you play it, you get a flying 2/2 as board presence on the board, in addition to this ability that makes it so that they can't cast anything from the graveyard or exile without having to spend 2 more mana. So if they're stuck only playing 1 spell a turn, and we flash out a 2/2 flyer that's also, you know, returning one of their spells that they just played into exile and making it become plotted, well, that's their 1 spell they can play that turn. So it's not like they can play something else after we respond with the Aven Interrupter. So if we can effectively cancel out the spell that they're playing, the only one spell they're allowed to play, whether it's a creature or a removal spell or whatever it might be, but also still have board presence as well, then we're able to eventually accrue value that we can win with while still dealing with every spell they play every turn. And that's kind of the backbone of what this deck is trying to do. But it's really cool that, like, even if they're playing their own plot stuff or adventure creatures or anything that's going to try to play from exile or graveyards, we also get that 2-mana tax just incidentally. So against some decks, the Aven Interrupter is going to be even better. And it's also worth noting that when something's plotted, it can only be played at sorcery speed, which means if you hit something that's an instant with the Aven Interrupter while it's on the stack, and it's something that's only really effective if it's played at instant speed, like maybe a counterspell or some kind of combat trick, it makes it hard, or in the case of counterspells, impossible to actually use that spell well, because now it gets exiled, it becomes plotted, they can cast it for free, well, for 2 because of the tax that Interrupter taxes things played from exile. But if they can't cast their counterspell at instant speed because plotted spells have to be played at sorcery speed, it's just effectively gone forever. So everything in the deck is kind of built on this concept of, if we can stop the thing that they're doing on their turn, since they can only do one thing, but also gaining board presence with that same spell, then we're getting way more value than our opponent, especially when you take into account the fact that we have all these flash creatures and stuff like that, where we can play something on their turn and on our turn. It's just so easy for us to steamroll value and take over the game. In a similar fashion, we're using 3 steps ahead. 1 blue mana for an instant with Spree, so we can pay an extra 2, so a total of 3 mana to counter a spell. So this is really good where if they play their 1 spell for the turn, and we need to counter it, we know they can't play another spell. But the reason 3 steps ahead gets so good is because we're limited to 1 spell a turn, so if we can get as much value out of every spell as possible, similar to what we're doing with Aven Interrupter, how we're able to postpone their 1 spell and get a threat onto the board with just 1 card, getting the most value out of every 1 spell we cast, since we can only cast 1 on a turn. 3 steps ahead does something similar, where as we start to build up more mana over the game, now we can get multiple spells worth of value out of just 1 cast, which means we can sit there under the restriction of High Noon only playing 1 spell a turn, but get like 3 spells worth of value out of it. So we can pay an extra 3 to create a token that's a copy of an artifact or creature that I control, and we can pay an extra 2 to get to draw 2 cards and then discard a card. So we can get some card advantage, we can make a copy of a creature that's on the battlefield, and we can counter a spell if we have enough mana, which is crazy. If we're sitting under a High Noon and our opponent can only cast 1 spell, but all of our spells are doing like 2 or 3 spells worth of things, it's hard for our opponent to keep up. But it gets even crazier because we're making copies of artifacts or creatures we control. We could make another copy of Aven Interrupter and exile another spell that they're trying to play, so it's almost like countering it, but then we have another 2/2 flyer on the board, and not only that, but the amount of mana that the Aven Interrupter taxes the opponent for playing things from exile, it starts to build up and compound upon each other. So if we make a copy of the Aven Interrupter, now they have to pay a total of 4 mana to play things from exile or from graveyards. And if we were able to make another copy, or maybe draw into a second hard copy of Aven Interrupter and play it, now we're up to taxing them 6 mana. So the more copies of Aven Interrupter we have in play, the crazier it gets. So 3 steps ahead not only lines up with our High Noon strategy, but it lines up super well with Aven Interrupter. Absolutely crucial cards. And then we're taking that concept and we're turning it up to 11 by including Micromancer. 4 mana for a 3/3 human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, we get to search our library for any instant or sorcery with mana value 1, reveal it, and put it into your hand and then shuffle. This card was never that great in the past because there weren't any good 1 mana spells. I mean, there's good 1 mana spells. There just aren't any great 1 mana spells that are worth spending 4 mana on a 3/3 body to tutor up. But now we have these spree cards, right? And there's some really, really good spree cards. So being able to find a 3 steps ahead and put it into our hand with a Micromancer is insane value, but the fact that the 3 Steps Ahead itself can make a copy of the Micromancer, which can then go and find another 3 Steps Ahead, that's where it starts to snowball out of control. Because now, every turn, they can only play 1 spell on their turn because of High Noon. We play 3 Steps Ahead, we counter that spell, and pay the extra 3 to make a copy of Micromancer, find another 3 Steps Ahead, and then on their next turn we do it again. By the time we're out of copies of 3 Steps Ahead, we've got like 4 or 5 Micromancers on the battlefield, we've stopped every spell they've played, and we're just pretty much winning the game through tempo at that point. So it can just get really cool and really crazy. But then we take the idea that, okay, we're using Micromancer, so we can have a sort of almost like a silver bullet sort of strategy where we have a bunch of one-ofs of 1-drops that might be really good in certain specific situations that we could just tutor up in the right circumstance with a Micromancer. So if we look at the bottom of the curve now, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. We've got 1 Final Showdown. This is 1 white mana, so we can fetch it with a Micromancer. It has Spree. Instant speed, we can either pay 1 extra mana to make it so all creatures lose all abilities until end of turn, or we can pay 1 extra mana to choose a creature we control and it gains indestructible until end of turn, or we can pay an extra 2 white and 3 to destroy all creatures. This thing's insanely versatile. Not only can it protect something on our board state, it can double as an instant speed board wipe that, if we have enough mana, can also protect something. So if we need to keep an Aven Interrupter in play or a Micromancer in play so that we can start to copy it again, we can make it gain indestructible while destroying all creatures so that it doesn't die to the Final Showdown. And then there's this other mode here, all creatures lose all abilities until end of turn, which is mostly useful if we're sweeping and we don't want them to get like death triggers and stuff like that. But I'm sure there are some niche circumstances where that could come up as well. So it's very versatile here. If you need to, you just use it as a 2-mana thing that protects your creature and keeps your tempo advantage alive so that you can close out the game over the next couple turns. But if you need it to be, it can be a sweeper, and it can be any combination of these things. So super good silver bullet target. We've also got Getaway Glamer. 1 white for an instant with Spree. For an extra 1 mana, you can blink something, and for an extra 2, you get to destroy any creature if no other creature has greater power. So this is a way to not only get creature removal for a huge big threat that hits the opponent's board, but we can get a 2-for-1 out of this as well, which is really important when we have High Noon in play. And we can flicker something that's in play to get more value. Maybe it's an Aven Interrupter to hit another spell. Maybe it's a Micromancer so that we can fetch another 1-drop. Lots of versatility there. We've got 1 Fading Hope because we can use it as temporary removal for our opponent's stuff, or we can return something of our own back to our hand at instant speed in response to, targeted removal or whatever. Save the thing we need to save. We've got 3 copies of Phantom Interference. This is our other main counter spell in addition to 3 Steps Ahead, and it's another one that we can find with the Micromancer. So one blue mana for an instant. It has Spree. For an extra 1, we can counter any spell unless its controller pays 2. So it's your standard 2 mana instant speed counter spell unless they pay 2. But it just also has this other mode tacked on where if you can pay an extra 3, you get a 2/2 creature with flying. So again, as we get this High Noon out and we start to accrue value over the course of the game and get to a point where we have more mana, sometimes we can set up a line where we counterspell their bomb that they tapped out for and make even more board presence in the same way that kind of Aven Interrupter does that for us. So it perfectly fits our strategy there, and we can tutor it up with the Micromancer. We've got 1 Wash Away, which seems really good now with a lot of the new cards that this can work on. 1 blue for an instant. You can cleave it for 2 blue and 1. If you don't cleave it, you counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. Or you just cleave it and use it as a normal counterspell. This card is super good now because as a 3 mana normal counterspell that you can just fetch with Micromancer because it's technically 1 mana, that's good enough on its own. In a deck like this, it's already going to be using Micromancer anyway. But then the fact that, like, if they're playing something that's plotted, or an adventure from exile, or whatever, which is kind of everywhere now, you can just counter it for just 1 mana. So absolutely playing one of these, tempted to increase that number, And then 1 March of Otherworldly Light, because it's another 1 mana thing we can search up with a Micromancer. Lets us deal with any problematic threat, exile it, you know, whether it's a creature, artifact, enchantment. We can just get rid of it and get on with our game. Moving on to the 2-drop slot, we've got 4 Faerie Masterminds, because it fits that flash game. We can get it down on their turn if we need to. We can accrue value over time by drawing cards. We've got 1 Malcolm. It's almost like a 5th Faerie Mastermind, right? This is going to dig through our deck every time it hits, and if it stays on the board long enough and it gets to 4 counters, we're going to be able to start putting things into play for free, which can get really absurd. We've got 4 Spectral Adversaries, which is another flash flying threat that we could potentially play on their turn when we have a High Noon up, but if we have extra mana, we can sink the extra mana into this to not only make it a bigger, more substantial flying threat, but also to phase things out. So we can use it in response to removal, or if we have enough mana, maybe even board wipe to phase out multiple of our things to save it, or on a key turn where we just need to turn the corner and get the tempo advantage, we can maybe phase out some of their stuff so that we can dodge some combat damage and stuff like that. So really versatile here, super good. And then we have 1 Saheeli, which is the only actual red card in the deck. And there's a good reason for this. For 2 mana, we can tap it and make a token that's a copy of any creature or artifact we control. So if we get a Saheeli down when we've got Aven Interrupter on the battlefield, we can just Aven Interrupter every single turn by making a copy with Saheeli. And even though technically the copy gets sacrificed at end of turn, the thing that you hit with the Aven Interrupter doesn't come back when the Aven Interrupter is gone, right? It stays in exile, so you could just keep doing this every turn and lock them out of the game, which can be absolutely absurd. That being said, it is kind of fragile, it is red mana, it is legendary, so we're just going to run 1. But then we have our 3-drop slot here. In addition to the Aven Interrupters, we're running 4 Werefox Bodyguards because it's insane. It's another thing that, like, oh, you can only play 1 spell a turn. You played a creature. We're going to flash this in, exile the creature, and we know for sure that they can't kill this afterwards on their turn because they played their 1 spell for the turn, right? And then we have something that can start attacking as well. So again, it fits that theme of we're just constantly increasing our board state while punishing them and denying them the ability to play things, or to keep anything on the battlefield if they do play it. So perfectly fits our strategy. And then just 1 Stoic Sphinx at the top end. This was a late add, and I'm not even sure if it shows up in any of the games, to be completely honest. I wasn't running this until the last few games that I was recording. And I just decided this was really good. Way better than I thought at first glance, because with High Noon you have a 5/3 flash flying for 4 mana that has hexproof as long as you haven't cast a spell this turn. With High Noon, that's especially good because chances are if you have cast a spell this turn, you're not going to need the hexproof anymore. What I mean by that is you have your Stoic Sphinx down. They can only play 1 spell a turn because of High Noon. So if they play something, in response you counter that thing or do any of the other shenanigans that the deck is lined up to do, yeah, you lose hexproof, but they just played their 1 spell a turn, so it doesn't matter. They can't target it because they can't cast another spell that turn. And then as soon as they get the ability to cast another spell, if they say go, and then they get instant speed removal they want to hit it with, well, as soon as it's our turn again, it gets the hexproof back, so they can't. So I think Stoic Sphinx is actually a perfect pair with High Noon, because it puts us in a position where, like, we don't ever have to cast a spell unless they do. And if they do, then they can't cast another spell to kill the Sphinx when it loses hexproof. So perfect at the top end. That being said, I am only going to run 1 because this deck relies so heavily on a tempo advantage and we want to keep things as cheap as possible. But I think just 1 at the top end is a really good idea. But that's the deck. It's kind of nuts. The last thing I want to talk about really quick before we move on to the games is the red mana inclusion. That 1 Saheeli might seem a little bit out of place. We're running 4 Sundown Pass, 4 Stormcarved Coast, mostly the slow lands for red because we don't usually need the red until later in the game. We're not usually playing Saheeli on 2. This is more of a value play after we've stabilized later on in the game. It's not necessarily something we want to curve out with. So all of our red sources, or as many as we can, are the slow lands here, whereas most of our Azorius lands are the fast lands, because all of our blue and white stuff is stuff we want to play out quick, on curve. We want to make sure we have that mana early. But the big reason we're playing red and why it makes sense to splash one Saheeli is just for this second ability of High Noon. One red and 4, sacrifice the High Noon and it deals 5 damage to any target. We're not normally using that, but where it's great is it effectively makes their life total start at 15 in a way. Because we keep the High Noon on the battlefield forever, we play our prison game, we overrun them with value, and then whenever we get them to 5 life or less, we can just sack the High Noon and kill them. And it's not going to matter that the High Noon is gone because they're dead. So in a way, when you have a High Noon down, it's like their life total effectively starts at 15. And as soon as you get them to 5, it's game over, which is awesome. But you can also double that as removal. If you're super desperate, if you need to kill a Sheoldred or whatever, you can sack the High Noon to kill the Sheoldred, to kill whatever you need to kill, if you're desperate. But like I said, most of the time, this is just going to basically function as if they're starting on 15 life, which is just awesome, and that alone is worth at least splashing red into the Azorius Brew to have access to it later on. And then the fact that Saheeli is so good with everything that the deck is trying to do means it makes more sense to do just a little bit more than splashing, right? Include just a little bit more of these red lands, just enough that we can consistently play our Saheeli a little bit later in the game. So that's the deck. It's kind of insane. We're running 3-man lands as well, because once they're locked out of the game and we have extra mana, it's super easy to just get in there to end the game a little bit quicker and not risk them getting into a situation where they could maybe take back control of the board state somehow by getting like enchantment removal for High Noon or whatever. So that's important. But yeah, the rest of the deck, just absolutely nutty. The game's absolutely nutty. One of my new favorite decks, and I'm absolutely going to continue to iterate on it in the coming weeks because I just think it's awesome. But with all that out of the way, I'm going to stop rambling now. I tend to do that when I'm excited. I apologize. Let's check out the games. Alright, we have a High Noon. Let's keep it. Let's keep it. It's going to be really good against Boros Convoke. Mono red. Mono red's going to hate me. You guys ready for how much mono red hates me? Are you ready? Watch how much mono red hates me right now. Good luck with your 1 spell a turn for the rest of the game. Watch this. It's gonna be gross. Go ahead, pump your guys. Can't cast anything else, buddy. Get out of here. Yeah, he's so toast. He can't cast anything else. Alright, you can plot a thing. That's not gonna help you. That is not gonna help you, my friend. Pass a turn. He's gonna scoop. Digital wizardry. What is digital wizardry? I just don't spend money. What's money? What is money? I don't even know what money is. I mean, I guess we do this. And we'll go like that. And we'll swing in for 3. And we'll keep up the rest. We'll end the turn. Can only play one spell, remember. Ooh. No bueno, my friend. Counter it unless you pay 2. And we get a 2/2. Tell me how you really feel. Swing in for 5. This is the best feeling I've had in Magic in a long time. This right here. Let's see, we have 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 6 to make 3 steps ahead, like, really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a Mastermind this turn, because we can play 1 spell a turn. And then we'll Aven Interrupter next turn. I mean, that's fine. I'm not even worried about it. I am not even worried about it. Yeah, we're doing it. We are doing it. Hello, Bojack. Alright, you're going to draw a bunch of cards.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
All of the IQs dropped. All of them. We'll do that. Welcome to Earth. Swinging with all the boys. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, he has to block. He has to block or he dies. He doesn't realize it. He doesn't realize it. High noon, baby. 5 to any target. Let's go. Alright, we're gonna keep this. We'll start with an Anchorage. The Coast. We'll pass. We've got 1 Final Showdown in the deck as a tutor target with Micromancer. But this might want to come up, honestly. Do what you gotta do, buddy. You do what you gotta do. Pass the turn. Flesh Georgie. Do you have another cut down? Do you? So we could Spectral Adversary and phase out a dude, but we can't really I mean, we're gonna take 3, right? If we target that guy. We could March of Otherworldly Light and dump like the Final Showdown in order to pay the ward. And get rid of the Flesh Gorger. It's true, Mathis. It's true. Get out of here. Get out of here. And he scoops. He beats. Yeah, turn 2 High Noon. We will keep this. Be really nice to get down Saheeli, but all in good time. Start with the Anchorage. Farmhand, sure. Spirebluff Canal. Do we get out Saheeli first? Yeah, we're gonna Saheeli first, because next turn we play End the Festivities, kill the farmhand, maybe whatever else he plays, and play the High Noon. We're allowed to double spell next turn if we do it this way. So we're gonna start with Saheeli. We've got just one copy of Saheeli in here because he can just keep making she can just keep making Micromancers or Aven Interrupters all day, which is really good. Hit for 2. Try and drop that High Noon. It's gonna Aven Interrupter my High Noon. Can you imagine? Okay. Well, we're pretty much on even footing. Never mind. I lied. I lied.
I am almost sad to see you go.
Oof. These fast lands. Rough, man. Jam out that High Noon. Try and slow him down a little bit.
Strike fast and strike hard.
Take the 3. We wait for him to play a spell. We can either counter it, or we can get down the Adversary to swing at the Wandering Emperor and kill it. I think that's what we want to try to do. Yeah, I was thinking about including Wash Away as a one of. I was thinking about that. We're really flooding, which is unfortunate, but we're not out of it. Gain 3 life, draw a card, sure.
See you later.
End the turn. We hold up a counter spell and we have enough mana to counter and make a 2/2 flyer. But he needs to play something a little more expensive, unfortunately. And that is not it. Do we block with Restless Anchorage? It's really tempting. But nah, we'll just take it. Well, now we got a 3 steps ahead. Which honestly isn't awful. I don't think we're using it yet, but it's not bad. We're gonna have to drag this out a bit, though. We're gonna have to take a little bit of damage, take some hits. But it is what it is. Wedding announcement. has the 2. We can wash away and draw. I think that's what we gotta do. Counter, draw, pay 5. Discard the coast. Honestly, not too bad here. We're going to pass the turn. We're going to hold up the adversary this time. Just to kind of make him second guess stuff. We could Spectral Adversary as a 4/3. And phase this guy out if we wanted to. But I actually think we want to take one more hit here. Another wedding announcement. So the problem is if we make him pay 2, he's got the 2. Right? I think we'd rather draw the cards. Nah, we'll get the board presence. We will get the board presence. Pass turn. So we could flash in Final Showdown and wipe the board if we wanted to. We're going to bluff a little bit here. We want him to play some interaction. Wandering Emperor. Wandering Emperor. We could counter it, but we are going to lose both of our adversaries if we do that. I think it's worth it. I don't know when we're going to be able to hit him with a counter like this again. We'll kill the Aven Interrupter, and then he's just got the 1/3 lifelinker. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Could leave 2 mana up. It's not really what we want. That's not really what we want. We'll pass the turn. We just gotta take control, right? 𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐿. 𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐿. Can't target me. That's what I thought you'd do. You dingy. What's up? Alright. This game is ours now. This game is ours. If we play a Faerie Mastermind on our turn, that leaves us 5 mana on his turn. Which is probably fine. So I think we're going to do it. Gives us lots of opportunities. We could protect our stuff with Adversary. Sarah Paragon. Sure. Let's draw. Give me all them cards, baby. Give me all those cards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's he trying to bring back? Everything, slowly over time, I guess. Kinda want to protect my board is the thing. But I guess we should probably just do this, right? Have at it, yo. The world is your oyster. Do what you must. Ossify what? The Mastermind? Sure. I think we still got you on a clock. I think we still got you on a clock. 1, 2, 3. That leaves me with 4 mana. We gotta close out this game quick at this point. So we're just going for it. You gonna use up your removal so that you can hit me for 1? Nope. Wants to play something else. Wandering Emperor.
Anyone who harms my people must
Sure.
contend with me. You're done.
Slow and steady wins the race. Well, we're definitely killing the Emperor, right? Swing in. Now what I love about High Noon is we just need to get them down to 5. We don't need to get them down to 0, because we just sack the High Noon and kill them. Alright, we'll say go. We leave up the possibility of using an Anchorage or any number of cards from our hand. Alright, that's his 1 spell for the turn. We'll play Malcolm. We will play Malcolm. Activate the Anchorage. One, 2, 3. We have 5. Right? So I think we can actually afford to do this. Finally, a Micromancer. And we'll swing for 5. Make another map token. Get to draw and discard. We'll discard the coast. We're not going to play the Micromancer, though. We're going to hold up the ability to either make the Anchorage into a creature or play Spectral Adversary. Probably the Adversary, honestly. Lay down arms. Well, here we go, baby. Adversary, auto pay. Phase out the Malcolm so we don't lose it. And now we have a blocker. Let's go. We'll let the mic get through. You can't cast any more spells. I think we got him at this point. Micromancer. What do we want? March of Otherworldly Light, Phantom Interference, Syncopate. 3 steps ahead, right? 3 steps ahead. Another one. Sick. That sounds pretty awesome. Alright, so we'll hit for 7. Put him at 5. Draw, discard. I think we want the Mastermind gone, honestly. Game's gonna be over soon. Virtue of Loyalty. I mean, he still can't kill us, right? We could make a copy of a creature to block with. Or we could Aven Interrupter. Those are really our 2 options here. Those are really our 2 options. I mean, we could also just block with an Anchorage, right? I have to assume he sees that coming. So what doesn't he see? I mean, this is the smartest thing. There's no sense in wasting a spell when all we need to do is just block, right? Gets me to 1. He hasn't cast a spell yet. Alright, that's game. That one was a little close. Alright, we're going to keep this. We've got High Noon. We've got our random 1 of End the Festivities, which is kind of funny. It's fine, though. We'll keep it. Make sure and get that out of our hand before we hit some discard. There we go. We'll get rid of the Anchorage. Pass the turn. You get 1 spell. Corrupted Court Official. That's your 1 spell. No, sir. No, sir. just gonna do it again. That's gross. That's also why copying is really good. Multiple copies of Aven Interrupter increases the tax by an additional 2. Oh god. Disgusting. Now we swing 4. I don't think there's anything you can do. See, they all cost 4 mana now. Braids. I'll let you have it. That's fine. Because I'm going to do this. Get out of here. Eat the braids. Block the beetle. Good night, my friend. Good game. Well, that one wasn't slow. Alright. Where to keep this? We'll start with Spirebluff Canal. Night, Mathis. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. We're gonna high noon the hell out of this dude. Paleontologist. You hold up Counterspell. Pass the turn. He's gonna play one big nasty. We're gonna tell him no. Or we could just... We don't have the white for Werefox Bodyguard, right? You can't counterspell it though because of Cavern of Souls. Man, if we had had the second white... We'd be in a pretty good spot. Let's just play it out. Maybe we should have just drawn with 3 steps ahead. We'll pass. Bone Horde Dracosaur. That's fine. Attack me. I dare you. Sick. We'll take the 6. I will take it, my friend. End the turn. It's Quinth. Do it. Skimbaba. No. No, you will not. No, you will not, my friend. No, you will not. Swing in for 2. Level the playing field a bit. High Noon is one hell of a card. Trumpeting Carnosaur. Uncounterable. He's gonna be really mad in a second. Are you ready? He's gonna discover 5 and not be able to play it because of High Noon. There will be none of that. So close. Hulking Raptor, sure. It's got what? Ward 2? So we're gonna need 1 more mana. So we eat it, we swing, we kill him? Right? Is that what we want to do? He can block 2 of these guys. He takes 6 and goes to 6. That's not enough. That is not enough. So we're just gonna swing. Put him at 8. Save all of our mana to eat something on his turn. We don't care about him getting extra mana, because he can only play one thing anyway. Maybe I lied. Maybe we do care. Maybe I'm a liar. I don't think it matters. I think we win anyway. Like, you can't play anything with the Atali, so it doesn't matter. Auto pay the ward. No blocks, we take 2. And then we win, right? He doesn't have any reach. Swing in for 4. And then we sack high noon. Good night. Alright, good day, I guess? Alright, we're gonna try and keep this. Not yet, Finn. To be honest, I was busy all weekend with family stuff until I hopped on super late tonight to get on this stream. So I haven't even looked at that stuff. I'll take a look first thing tomorrow, though. I'm excited to dig into it. Alright, we're gonna start with a coast. C-Note Scout. Press X to doubt. Alright, we're gonna pass the turn. We'll flash in Malcolm here. Or maybe, just maybe, we can counterspell if we're desperate. Oh, sick. That's awesome. I'll take the damage. I'll take that any day of the week. Because it's so temporary. And now we get to, like, stay ahead for pretty much the whole game. Yeah, man. There's no way he catches up. Flourishing Bloomkin. I mean, what's worse, the Alchemist or the Bloomkin? That's really the question. Probably the Bloomkin, right? And he gets his Aloe Alchemist into play, which is fine. It's fine. Alright, we will draw and discard. That's actually kind of tricky. I think we dump the Surge here. And then we'll just Micromancer. Because why not? They have to deal with it. We'll grab a 3 steps ahead. Oh god. Sneasels. Sneasels everywhere. Use your trick. Spend your mana. Alright, we go to 11. Let's swing. Dump you. End the turn. We do have a pretty good play here. Gold Vein Hydra. Do we want to counter it? I think we do. Actually, I think this is actually really good. Aven Interrupter it. Can they pay the X? I'm not sure if they can pay the X. I think we'll take the 3. We could just trade with it, and it would be really good, right? And now we get something into play for free, I'm pretty sure. Because he never dealt with the Malcolm. We'll do this. End the turn. Seems pretty good. Gold Vein Hydra. X equals 0. Sorry, buddy. And he scoops. What a good play. Alright, we'll try and keep this. Start with our Seachrome Coast. Make sure we have access to both white and blue. We want to get out our fast lands as quick as possible. Just in case we draw a third one, we can play it on 3. Hawkfall Vale. Alright. Mastermind, are you going to kill it? Probably. No. Okay. Not going to kill it. Pass the turn. Flotsam. That's fine. I am not worried about that, friend. I think we just Spectral Adversary here. We don't want to waste our Aven. But we also want to make sure we keep putting pressure on the opponent. If we can keep that tempo advantage, we should be golden. End the turn. Just gonna crack the clue. I mean, now we're pretty golden, right? If you play something nasty, you can bodyguard it. Keep the counterspell. Each creature, planeswalker, and battle. Problem is, if we Aven Interrupter that thing, it's gonna kind of be rough. But I'll try it. See, it's gonna wipe out even more creatures when you finally place it. Now, do we bodyguard our own mastermind so that it survives? I don't think so. I think we just draw. I mean, we're still ahead on tempo, right? Anchorage, hold up 2 mana. Might be better to Phantom Interference, though. Let's pass the turn. See what he does. If he plays 1 creature, we bodyguard it, right? If he plays a nasty spell, we interference it and make a spirit. Do you have something expensive? You don't. Interesting. Leave up 3 mana still for a counterspell if we have to. Yeah. Let's get in there. Let's get in there with the Anchorage. He wants to lightning strike the Anchorage. Do we let him? Might be wrong. Oh no, it used my Anchorage. That's lame. That's so lame. Wanted to at least get him into 6, right? Keep that in mind next time, though. Arcane Bombardment. Imagine playing Arcane Bombardment. So we can bounce it for 4. Probably wait until something's on the stack. And then we have 3 mana left. Yeah, we just have everything. We're just gonna take it slow. We can just do everything right now. So, whenever you cast your first instant, it's on cast. So we probably should have already bounced it, huh? No, I want him to be out of mana, though. I don't want him to recast it. I don't really care if he gets to play something for free, to be honest. I care that the bombardment's back in his hand without the mana to recast it. And he has to start all over from scratch with cards being exiled with it. That's what I care about. Lightning Strike, sure. You know what? I'm gonna let it resolve. Because I don't care. We're just gonna get some beef. Do some swinging. 2-turn clock. You do not have time to play your
You didn't have any clue what's about to happen to him.
Oh, no chance in hell. Good
Good
night.
night. King Koopa deserves to go down anyway. How many times he told me my princess is in another castle.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
You can plot that. Yeah, what's up? That's a good win. Without even High Noon. You know what? I'm gonna keep it. We're gonna win off the back of High Noon and nothing else. You watch. Are you ready, chat? Are you with me? Believe. Faith, Willow. Courage, Willow. Three High Noons? What is going on? Okay. But hey, we got the 5 mana and we can use them all as damage. So that's kind of funny. Okay. Who did this? Where's the jokester? Where is he? Somebody put 3 High Noons and a whole bunch of land on the top of my deck. Somebody thought they were being a prankster. And that somebody's name is Mark Rosewater. There's a snake in my boots. 𝐻𝑒𝐿. Yeah, I'll take it. Spikes in hell. Spikes in pee-wee hell. Jesus. This is my life now, guys. We have to try to block it with the Anchorage. We just have to. Right? We don't even have a choice. And he's holding up removal so that he can kill it. Which means after he plays his Sheoldred, we're not going to be able to High Noon it because our land will be gone. Well, looky what we have here. Every High Noon ever. At the same time. Does that make it Higher Noon? Is this Higher Noon? That sounds weird just saying it. Higher Noon. Higher Noon? Corn Hat Larry. Now you really need to be beaten. What kind of name is that? What kind of name is Corn Hat Larry? Those are 2 words, 3 words that should never be together in the same sentence. Come on, Poophead. Raid me. Alright. Doesn't look good, guys. Even if we top decked our sweeper. What is this? I'm gonna put this game on YouTube just because it's hilarious. Just because it's legitimately hilarious. And we drew our one basic, so we don't even have a basic to search for. So ridiculous, dude. Oh, and that was during our upkeep. Kidding me. Welcome to highest noon, you delinquent. This wasn't a game. This was supposed to be a game. This isn't a game. This is you getting to play solitaire. Since when does Corn Hat Larry get to play solitaire? Where in the rules does it say that when you're up against Corn Hat Larry, you're not allowed to play the game? What's going on here? We gotta be really careful about stuff like that. Alright, we'll keep this. Delver. Sundown Pass. Try and do some high nooning next turn. Virtuoso. Man, going first is broken, huh? Going first is so broken. Hello? Come on. You did a thing. Doesn't really matter how many cards he draws if he can only play one spell a turn. Rough. We've got a few options here, though. We could march the Virtuoso. We could Aven Interrupter the cast, the one spell he casts, and then block something. Alright, he can't cast another spell. So he's just got Delver as a 1/1. I think that's fine. You guys are hilarious. I think he's going to be really mad now. High noon, bro. High noon. Welcome to high noon. And now we've got you. Now we've got you. There's nothing you can do now. Now we've got you. We gotta wait until he casts the spell, though. Twin Blade? Absolutely not. Get out of here. Attack me. Do it. That's what I thought. Chicken. We will swing 2. You gotta remember, he's basically at a starting life total of 15 because of High Noon. In a way, 10, because we have a second one in hand. Come on, Mosty. I don't think he knows what to do. I think he rage quit. I think we got the salt win. We could have copied our Aven Interrupter in order to put another spell into exile. And then we can draw cards as well. But alas, I think our opponent is gone. Our opponent has mentally checked out. There will be no game. Hello? Hello, we'll give you the whistle. This man gets the whistle. This man gets the whistle. Okay. Oh yeah, because this worked out fine for us last time, right? We'll keep it. Because I'm a sadist. Lead with the Sundown Pass. It's high time we get to filling you full of lead. Welcome to the highest noon. The highest of nooners. So high, so noon. Pass a turn. We can bodyguard, we can interrupter. We can do anything. If we're desperate, we can even counterspell with 3 steps ahead. You should feel dirty. 𝐾𝐈𝐿. We're gonna put that aside momentarily. Eh? Duress? Duress is not okay. This is going to be a sweet play. You ready for this? All right. Life is really hard for you, my friend. I understand this. You better play whatever you can play while you can play it, buddy. Because Saheeli doesn't like you very much. And we are winning this race. If he shuts down Saheeli in order to kill our engine, he can still only play one spell a turn, right? So if he does like a go for the throat or whatever, he can't use the rest of his mana. So we just out-tempo him. We just race him. He can't do anything. Damn, Lewis. You're an absolute champion over there. Champion. And then we swing with all of the boys. End the turn. This is going to be disgusting. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? He's going to be so mad. He's going to scoop. Now he has to pay 6 for cards from exile. They can't be played. It's so awesome. And there's our lethal. Wow. Wow. What a deck. Alright, we're going to keep this. Start with an Anchorage. It's going to start with a Coast, but we top decked the Anchorage, so we'll make that happen. And then we'll play a Wastes, and we'll play a High Noon. Let's see what you got, friend. Topiary Stomper. Interesting. Pass turn. So we probably Aven Interrupter here. We will slow you down. Oh man, we're really slowing you down, huh? Swing 2. End the turn. So we've got another Aven Interrupter here.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Welcome, Warlock. Welcome back to the stream, my friend. And now we'll swing with 2 Aven Interrupters. And now it's going to cost a total of 4 for him to get his Invasion of Zendikar. Angel. Do it. Get greedy. Get greedy. Do it. You know you want to. Nope. Invasion of Zendikar. Well, we could make him pay an extra 2, but he's got the 2. So I guess we resolve it. There will be none of that. Oh, he's about to be so mad. He's about to be so mad. Watch this, Badman and Warlock. It's going down. He's gonna be so mad. He can only play one spell a turn. We make another Aven Interrupter. And get rid of the Archangel. We counterspell the uncounterable card. Because it's not actually a counterspell. And now he has to pay 6 mana to play it. And he can't play another spell this turn no matter what. Right? I mean, it doesn't have reach. At this point we just win, so go ahead. Get your Zendikar. Get your Zendikar. So rude. It's so rude, gods. Even if he has instant speed removal, it doesn't matter. Leyline Binding. Insult to injury here. Counterspell it. Make a dude. Good night. Could have also just like let him and then high nooned him for 5. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.